I just burped, so I think we can go. Here we go. Here we go. I think we're good. I think we're live. Here we go. Two viewers. One is my wife, and the other one is probably me. So we could probably just do this without streaming it. You just visit on the sofa. But if that's the two that it is, then I don't really know why I'm doing this. Um, well, the two, and if it's me and you, that'll be trouble. But I want to see something. Now, if I do this, where is it? See, I want to pull some shit up. And now, if I do that, what I did on my screen, I hope now you can still see me and everything is fine and don't have the slightest idea what is on my screen. But I believe that is true because I'm looking at myself on an iPad, and I could actually become a third viewer if with my iPad, if that counts. So that explains why there was two. It was my lovely wife over there, Mrs. Comic, and then me here on the iPad. That's two. Now we're up to four, unless it counts this other one. But okay, so that's good. That means I can do some other shit with that. If I close this window. See, this is live entertainment. Look out. Here we go. Good evening, welcome, Unshunned, and that's who is driving my career. Or I don't have much work at all. The last couple of fundraisers have been ridiculous. Broken windshield story when I get to it. Married to Tibet. So much gratitude from my wife and I and Mary. She's good. She's healthy. I'll be talking about the trip to the vet, but the donations for Mary, so appreciative. Veterinary bills just suck batshit balls. So thank you so much for that. I'm peaking, and this week I actually thought I was going to do this last week. So there's going to be a theme of donation every week, and this week's theme is actually, ironically, the electric bill. So donations from this week's live stream will go right to the electric bill. I'm trying something new. I'm trying to get folks over to Patreon. I've got an amazing Unshunned crew over there. I'm trying to get more folks over, so I did a little teaser asshole video for Facebook Live, or if I get donations to $100 from non-unshunned people prior to 7:30 or 8, and I will go live. That sucked batshit balls. This is a message in my phone. It's actually Mary and Bearcat got some donations of actual cat food, and the person who donated the food is actually watching this stream right now. And so if you see me looking in this phone, the Stein, it's your fault, Stein and Sarah, hi, they sent cat food and a text message, which reminds me I should put this phone on silent. Let's see here. Or actually, I don't mind interruptions. If they come in, then so be it. So that's amazing stuff right there. I'm very excited. I've been working on my book, which is good and bad. Where's my notes? I do use cheater notes all over the place here. So here we go. We got the Patreon plug. It's $3 a month. You can cancel anytime. It's access to these live streams, all these fabulous fun things. So we're working on that stuff, and I have stuff ready. I've been talking about writing my book of the stories of my career forever, but I actually have been starting to write it. And there's dumb shit about writing a book that I didn't even know about. I just didn't even have a clue. Like a preface or preface, whatever the hell it was. I had to write one, and I wasn't going to write that shit first, but that's the kind of stuff I'm going to kind of podcast for my Patreons and test it out on them. So I wrote the preface, and then I wrote a second draft of the preface, and that was nothing to do with the first draft. So the second draft is actually a whole new actual first draft of the preface. And when I was dicking around here before, I might try to actually read the preface in tonight's stream. Because I kind of figured out what they are. You know what they are. We're readers, but the preface is like, yes, hi, I can't believe it was so hard to write a book. I have to thank all my family and friends and all, and you got to thank everyone. I, that's to me that's a little bit boring. Of course, it's fucking hard to write a book. Who looks in a preface and goes, "Oh, it was hard to write a book"? That's a surprise. I thought it was really easy. Even that Peckerhead Amish comic, he wrote a fucking book. So it's not going to be any of that shit. But you're supposed to explain what the reader can expect in the book without giving too much away, and kind of why you wrote it, and go from there. So I wrote that. I'm going to test that out a little bit. And because I am a reader and I love serial killing shows from cable TV, that's what I was reading, serial killing shows. My wife over here, who I love, even still after she tricked me into this, got me hooked on these epic fantasies, like a Wheel of Time series. It's like fucking 15 books. It's great for pandemic, by the way, if you need like a big, thick 15 book series. But these books, and I love them, she'd be just basically where I am now, and she'd be reading them to herself while I was reading serial killing books over there. And anytime anybody would take like a fork in the eye and then he'd stew it and flip it around and laugh about it, she'd cringe, and I'd see her doing this in this corner, and then I'd look over and then she'd say, "This is the part you would really like." And then, so that got me into the epic fantasy series, and the Wheel of Time series uh, has a prologue, which anybody who reads books at all, prologues are like, oh fuck, there's a prologue. A prologue. Then I always wanted a prologue in my book. Then I found out from a little bit of Googling, prologues don't really go in non-fiction books. But it's my book, and I'm writing a fucking prologue if I want to write a prologue, which I did. But the best prologue, I had to Google what a prologue was, and a prologue is kind of like a bunch of ADD, OCD assholery that kind of sort of almost has nothing to do with the book, seemingly. It's random stuff. It's unexplained. There's characters you don't know well how they fit into the book, and then the more you read, the more sense that prologue makes, and that's perfect example is the Wheel of Time. There's wheels turning, and in the time some call the future, and the third time, and now I'll see you there if you make it. If I make it, if I don't kill you first here or meet you there, I might kill you if we're there. If I'm not there, you might have killed me some other where. And this shit goes on, and then 13 books later, you're like, wow, that fucking makes all the sense in the world. So I actually want to have a very confusing prologue for my own book, because the prologue is the other thing is writers put them in. I'll tell you why they put them in there, to trick you, because you read the prologue and you go, what the fuck? I don't know what that is. In fact, the Wheel of Time prologue, I had to go through like fucking 13 times, and that's no lie, mostly audiobook, but it's because I nobody really told me that I didn't have to figure out a prologue. They're like, just fucking go with it. But I'm trying to decode a thing that's not decodable until you read the 13 books. So 13 prologue listenings later, I said, fuck it. I'm done. I'm out. I'm finished. I'll just go into the book now. And it's actually a trick to get the reader to read the books. So that's what I want to prologue in my book. So the reader is tricked and sucked in, and they go, I don't really know what this is. I don't understand it, but I got to find out. It's too much. We really got to find out shit. So I actually wrote a first draft of my prologue, and then I wrote a revision of that. And once again, like the preface, it's got all fucking this way and that. And I was actually going to read one or both of those things tonight. The prologue's not ready, but I could test it out anyway. But live stream reading is kind of stupid, so we might not see that anyway. So back to my Mary to the vet saying, I don't know if you will see Mary on camera tonight because here's what happened. Last week, we had to lure her with treats. Um, and I have problems giving treats to pets because they like them and then they throw up. And so I gave Mary too many treats to get tips last week. And so she threw up. So whatever he's donated, a piece of my throw up soul came out as I had to clean up the throw up. And my wife cleaned up a lot of the throw up. So the treats, maybe like one or two, possibly. Um, but I guess by the handful, you really shouldn't give them treats. Uh, so we took Mary to the vet for the second trip on Wednesday, and again, the money was donated. It's a different cat. That's how we knew she was sick. You know who your pets are. You know what they can do. Mary just looked the past couple months like maybe like the past month and a half like she got really old. She kind of looked like, where is this? She looked like this. That's me actually. In my clown days, I'm younger, but I've had on clown makeup, and I took it off with cooking oil. So Mary kind of looked like this when we took her to the vet, and everybody was afraid of her, and they were planning funeral services for her and all that stuff. And so we hope she makes it home. And then she responded to the medication. Also, the vet said, you can't put the meds in the food. She'll never do it. She'll just throw it up. And I know my cat, Mary is my cat, and they wanted us to stick them in her mouth, and that wasn't going to happen. So Mary and I wanted to make a dick out of the vet by having her eat the meds in the food, and that was a whole fucking production. A whole process, about 20 to 30 minutes to do this twice a day to trick her into eating the right amounts of food that are just properly drugged so she doesn't notice it. And she responded. And when we took her back Wednesday, she seemed younger and stronger and more powerful. And they actually, these vet could not believe this was the same cat. And they also couldn't believe that Mary was my cat. It was Mary was a nervous wreck at the vet, and then the vet table, exam table came right up to my stomach here, and Mary came out, and she was fucking grinding her head in, and she actually was trying to burrow into my stomach, um, and she was purring so loud they couldn't check her heart rate. That's how loud this cat was purring while she was afraid. And so they get a sink over there, and they're going to pick up the cat and take Mary over to the sink and run the water. And somehow, if a cat's going, and then water runs, they go, what the fuck was that? I can't purr that. So then they were going to do that, and the lady said, uh, she probably doesn't like to get picked up because my cat doesn't like to get picked up. And so you are very correct about that. Mary does not like getting picked up. So they said, do you think she would like some cheese? I said, yes, she would love some cheese. So Mary got Cheese Whiz on a stick, on a tongue depressor, and they gave it to me. And again, they still couldn't believe that they were dealing with me and my wife there because they were that's kind of a little sexist if you think about it. It's like, how come the man's doing the thing and the cat loves the man? So I got the Cheese Whiz on the tongue depressor, and I got Mary right here, and they were like, I guess all cats don't like Cheese Whiz on a stick. And Mary never had it, but I was pretty sure because she's kind of like a food goblin. Um, so she's just hammering away on this thing, and Mary is a very grateful eater since she was outside. When Mary eats, this is how she eats. Well, thank you. Thank you. This is amazing. She actually purrs and talks thank yous through her eating. So she's doing that with the tongue depressor, and it's a little dab. And the veterinarian ladies are going, oh my goodness, look at she really loves it. This cat loves this Cheese Whiz more than any other cat that's ever been in here. I'm there. That says maybe, but your window of opportunity to shove a thermometer up her ass and check her heart rate is dwindling, because then she sucks all the cheese whiz off this stick. The fucking game is over, and then we gotta go back and take her back over to run the water and all that happy horseshit. So then they went and did that. Um, so they were actually, they examined her and go, my goodness, her ears are clear. Boy, she's wonderful. Her heart sounds good. Everything's kind of amazing. And then they always find something, right? So she said, I'm a little concerned about something in her throat. And then she said to check Mary's throat. I'm doing this. And he said, do you feel that? I'm like, yeah. And well, it's like a little, what is it? I never really, yeah, a little slippery, a little, I don't know what. I said, I don't really know what a cat's neck is supposed to feel like, so I went in there with low expectations that I would be grossed out by going, a fucking cat's neck, and I was correct about that. So whatever I was supposed to feel that I didn't feel, I don't know, but I'm telling you, this cat is fine. Now, I hope she's not listening, because she'll get hurt feelings. Mary's got fat because I feed her too many treats, right? And she was upstairs, and then she got even fatter. Then she got sick, and then she didn't run around and play, and she got a little fatter. So when we took her back to the vet, she had been feeling good, running around, chasing toys, and been having a ball. She had actually lost a pound. And that's actually good and healthy, because I think she gained a fat pound at least from just laying around being sick. And the veterinarian lady said, we're little concerned about Mary's weight loss. And I said, nobody has ever said that before in her entire life. In fact, my feral cats are the fattest cats in the fucking world, because people like Stein donate cans of cat food so Bearcat can be fat and Meerkat can be fat. I believe the local feral cats have kind of like a man feeding, lady feeding post office wanted, and my face is there, and then say like, you got it just one at a time. That's the rule, though. Like it's not a commune. It's not a flop house for cats. It's one at a time until he finds a home or drops dead. That's what we do, and then it's Bearcat's turn. And after that, they're all fat. They are all fat. I fatten them up. They get good food. They get donations. I don't know how much food to give. I'm not going to be out there fucking trying to weigh Bearcat. Um, or Werecat, right? There's Bearcat and there's Werecat out there, and then there's a white cat, and there's a squirrel. And here's the other thing about this ritual. In order, I should try to film. I should get one of those cameras that cover all the action, and then show you what I go through. Because Mary right now is sitting in the back window watching where Bearcat's feral home is. And when Bearcat shows up for dinner, Mary flings herself at the window, and I had to put a screen in there, and it's the loudest fucking crash, and it scares the shit out of us. And Bearcat's lucky that Mary rings its dinner bell. But then I have to trick Mary into not going nuts, and her tail gets all fat. And so I can whip up Bearcats. I'm cooking for 2 cats. I'm out there, and Mary's crying, and I'm setting up Bearcat's bowl in this garbage can and this one over here, and I got to get them set at the right time. And I run Mary, so she's over here and eats in this room over here, and I can sneak out to the back, and then I crawl. I actually have to crawl. I have to whack out 2 frozen water dishes and pour hot water that's in an empty bourbon bottle from too many bourbon balls. And if you're watching and you're the neighbor, the fucking Amish guy's giving his feral cat bourbon. It's clear, so don't be a dick. And so then I gotta whack those ice cubes out, and then all around the yard is these little spaceships, frozen spaceships, and so is that. And then I gotta actually crawl in to the front of Bearcats, because I made it too good. And there's this long pincher, like if you drop shit, and then it sits like it, and then I gotta reach in and pull the fucking bowl out, and then push the fucking new one in, and Bearcat sits at a safe distance like this. And if I talk to it like you're supposed to, that's why I can talk to Mary. Mary still talks to me. Hey, Bearcat, just listen to me. I could find you a home because you're adorable, but you're also a little bit of a dick. If I was trying to kill you, I had a lot of shots before tonight, and I probably wouldn't have caught you, but that's my point. And when I start talking to Bearcat, and he doesn't want to hear shit, or she does this. But that doesn't shut me up. You fuckers, I mean in a nice way, you know that isn't going to shut me up. So then I go there and I push that in. Then I come in. Then I gotta close the doors. Then any empty bowls, I gotta bag them because if Mary sees me coming in with cat bowls, whether there's food in them or not, it's a whole big fucking to do. And all this happened at like 10 after 7, 20 minutes before I'm gonna stream. I'm out there fucking dumping things, all this and that. Now Mary, everybody's happy except me. I'm all worked up. My knees are wet from crawling around in the snow, and then I gotta fucking walk. Oh, just to save cats, right? Save cats. Son of a bitch. We love cats. I love you. That's the whole thing. So if Mary comes through here, it'll be a win. The reason we're streaming at 7:30 tonight instead of 8 is because of Hank. Our daughter has the most handsome rescue kitten, Hank, and they're romping around, and we got to take Hank his dinner. And I say, gotta, we really want him when we should really buy him tickets to go to movies and shit so we could go take care of Hank. Hank is a circus cat. He's handsome. He flies around. He loves to play. So we'll be checking out Hank. Hank is a paw master, and we actually have a screensaver going on right now so the Hank pictures are flying all around. And if Mary sees those, sometimes she goes fucking nuts as if she was going to go see Bearcat. So it's all about cats. We're going to see Hank later on. Now we got this. Oh, I don't know if Clee's sister's in the house. She might be having a granddaughter over tonight. We never know what Richter's status is, bourbon bowls and all that jazz. But here's the thing. If Richter were in the chat, I'm not live in the chat tonight. I'm trying to micromanage shit here, and I've just dealt with the cat stuff.
Kevin Keller's in.
Kevin Keller's in? Mm-hmm. Oh, all right. Hello. If Richter was in the chat, Kevin Keller says hello. Right? That's what we're saying? No, I got confused there. Okay. If Richter was in the chat, he'd be busting my bourbon balls to call Crenshaw. Now, here's the thing. Crenshaw can't be called before 8 o'clock. I didn't know this until things changed earlier today. So, I'm actually was thinking of having Crenshaw call Richter and then keep me out of this because Richter's like, call Crenshaw. Well, just Crenshaw, would you just fucking call Richter so we don't have to run this through my show? And then Crenshaw was thinking it would be a good idea to do a raffle. That's what I'm thinking that's a fun idea, to do a raffle, and the winner would get a call from Crenshaw, right? And then we have another raffle, and then someone will get a call from me, and we'll have another raffle, and then you get a three-way call from me and Crenshaw. All of this sounds wonderful, except that's just more shit that I gotta do. So stay tuned for the, you could get a call from Crenshaw and or me raffle coming, hopefully, to a stream near you. So let's see here. Oh, I know there's another thing that happened I'm backtracking to the vet. The vet ladies loved Mary. They just didn't want her to leave. She was just so adorable. They just were trying to get Cheese Whiz. They were just trying to keep her there. And while they were in another room, Mary was running around and she had lost a whisker and then a second one. All of this melted my brain. I knew cats had whiskers, and I knew they lost them. I just didn't think this was a thing anybody would ever see. I didn't think you would actually see a cat lose whisker, that it would just fall in. Like when Sparky had feathers, then she fucking hated, and she'd work on them, and son of a fucking bitch, and she'd work on them for day after day after day, and sometimes she'd just put them back because they'd be off a little bit weird, but then she'd fucking yank that fucker out and throw it, and as soon as the feather was off of her, she fucking hated that feather. That feather was the fucking demon and the enemy. Get that fucking thing out of here. Well, there's feathers all over the place, so we got a whole basket of feathers. So now the whisker was the thing, and my wife collected the whiskers. And then the girls weren't back yet, the vet ladies weren't back, and I'm whispering to my wife, do not tell them about the whiskers because I want to get the fuck out of here. I don't want to be in here talking 20 minutes with these ladies fawning over Mary's whiskers. So the thing that bothers me about whiskers is this. Well, first of all, I have them. I'm suspicious that the whisker theory, the theory being that the whiskers dictate how fat of a space cat could go through. I'm trying to lure Mary over here. My wife is trying to lure Mary over there. So my wife actually won. So we're at odds. The show is fighting. My wife and I are having an on-screen fight where Mary picked the winner over there. So the whiskers, there she comes. The whiskers are supposed to decide how fat of a thing to go through. Now, I can't use that system because I know my whiskers aren't as fat as my ass. Are you going to come in here and thank everyone? There's Mary. She's feeling good. Here's the thing about Mary, and a lot of cats are this way. To get them to like something, even if it's theirs, you actually have to pick them up and set them there, and then they'll go, hey, this is pretty great. And that's what Mary does now. Mary is actually just discovering furniture. The Paisley chair. She loves the Paisley chair. In fact, she leaped into my prologue because I was writing it in the Paisley chair. And then she leaped into the prologue. And so there's stuff about Mary in the prologue. I don't know why. It just seemed relevant at the time. So the whisker theory, I'm not quite sure about. And people do this. And again, I don't know. They take a whisker, if a whisker falls out, and they put it right on the top of the cat's head and take a picture. The thought of trying to get Mary to pose, to have a whisker put and stuck in her head, I don't think it's going to happen. Plus, the whiskers are now officially in the basement because the cat carries in the basement. So we could actually do that. Mary's here purring. Let's see. All right. I don't think she's going to throw up. But I'll give her one treat. Now, just one. Or like two for like the bird cage. You ever see the bird cage? And they say, the Perrin tablets. It's the aspirin was the A and the S script. Perrin tablets. It's one for now and one for later. So don't ask me. You're over here. And everybody says, how cute it is that his cat is eating out of my hand. Well, I'll tell you something. I wish that worked for people. Then my wife could be over here with like a pork chop. It'll actually be not a pork chop because I'm vegetarian. And then I would eat it out of her hand, and that would be really a cool, fun, cute thing. Wouldn't it? She's really hammering away here. The problem's going to be this, is that the two treats are now done, and I still have the bag. And that's the thing Mary doesn't understand, and no cats understand. Mary just discovered that we have a kitchen, and she can't believe she went all these years living upstairs, not knowing that we had a room just designed for food. So she can't believe that, and she actually can't believe that there's food here now that we can't have, because that's what you want to do. You want to just eat and then throw up and then eat again. Anytime Mary does throw up, she goes right back to the food bowl like a supermodel with bulimia or whatever the fuck it is, and she anorexia, but she eats, throws up, and goes right to the bowl. I'm good. I'm clear. There's space. So that's TMI. That's too much information right there. Back to the windshield. Okay, so now here's the thing. I had a fundraiser just for the windshield. For those just joining us, I had a brand new windshield installed February 1st, $400, and 18 days later, Ranch came down and put a fucking cracked the windshield so bad that we missed the old crack. The old crack ran across the bottom like this, and the new one's more Halloweeny, and it's big spider webs all over the place. So I'm losing my fucking mind. Now I'm getting and the car was over. Our daughter was borrowing it, and then so she felt bad, and her boyfriend felt bad. So they're gonna help replace the windshield, um, and the price went up, which made me fucking crazy. So we had a coupon, a better coupon for the second windshield than for the first windshield, and you book all this shit online, and the fucking price went up and went to fucking $450. I'm losing my fucking mind. I I I I don't know what the hell is going on here. So I actually called someone on the phone, and I got Tony. I don't think Tony answered the phone. It was like real. It would have been the Tony Soprano of the windshield business. And I told him my story. I got this windshield February 1st, and it cost me $400, and I couldn't afford it. And then another one. Now this one's fucking $450, and then the price came down on the other one to $350. Now this one, the price came down on the other one to like $300 because of the discount. Now this one, the price is a better, not bitter. It is actually bitter. And so this one's actually going to be more with, and I'm losing my fucking mind. I said, here's the thing. I don't think it's fair that I have to buy 2 fucking windshields in the month of February for the same car. That's not your problem. Tony was amazing. I hear what you're saying here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to adjust the price down lower to the old price you got before, because that's right, and give you the new discount, and the price will be lower than it was when you got it before by $20. How about that? Tony, that's fucking fantastic. But Tony doesn't really go on the computer. So this discount did not appear on the fucking computer. So I spent a day online and on the phone with Kim, and Kim didn't believe my Tony story at all, and she said, well, you got $70 off the windshield. Yeah, but it's still fucking $385, and then Tony told me I could get it for $280. So now I sound like a street thug, and she's gonna go talk to Tony, and I'm losing my fucking mind, and I already told her I'm on the phone. I'm going to listen. Here's the problem: is that my daughter and her boyfriend are mostly bankrolling this thing because they feel bad, and I already told them how much it is, and now it's fucking $500. And then Tony was on my side, and he says, that sucks batshit balls. You shouldn't have to buy fucking 2 windshields. That's more windshields than you probably bought in your whole life for all your cars. You fucking ain't right, Tony. That's more windshields. So Tony was going to fix me up. Now, I know, like, I don't sound like I'm sane or I know what I'm talking about, but if you could just figure out a way to get a hold of Tony. And she did. And she said, all right, I'll call Tony, because Tony is more authorized to do this sort of thing, if you don't mind going on hold. So I went on hold, right? I did. And then I made myself nuts. I'm like, it's taking too long. It's taking too long. She can't get a hold of Tony. They think I'm nuts. Tony probably doesn't even work there. Tony might have got fired from giving assholes like me fucking unauthorized discounts. I am fucked. The price is going to go way the fuck up. This is going to be bad. And then something happened. If you know anything about me, the trolls in my idea hallway come running out with advice signs all the time. One of the trolls said, calm down. Maybe it's taking long because they're fixing it. And Tony might have been a little too stupid to put it into the computer. And Tony has to find Kim to put it into the computer so you can get your discount. Maybe everything is fine and they're fixing it. And that's why it's taking long. And then Kim said, I just talked to Tony. He'll take care of it. He feels bad. Tony apologizes. Tony is so sorry this happened. He thought he took care of it, but he got busy and he didn't. I'm like, oh my God, that's the most amazing thing. I loved Tony on Friday, and I loved Tony now again today, and I love Kim for fixing this up. That is absolutely incredible. So she said, Tony says a discount will be online before the window gets installed. Supposed to be the next morning. So that's fine. We have no contact installation on the windshield. They're coming here. Everything's set. Tony's supposed to put the discount in. I go in the morning. I log in. The discount's not there, but Tony promised that the discount would be in there before windshield install guy showed up, right? So I'm driving our daughter to work in the other car because we're kind of short cars now. And then he shows up, the repair guy, Raphael, shows up and calls me and says he's here now and he can't. And I called him before he got there because he were texting. He said, I'll be there in 20 minutes. I'm like, well, I'll be there in 30 and I'm not home yet. But we got to make sure we get with Tony before you put that windshield in, because I'm not paying fucking $450 for fucking windshield that Tony promised I get for fucking $280. See, he didn't know what the fuck I was talking about because that's Raphael. All he does is take windows out and put new fucking windows in. So he's gonna do whatever he's doing, and I'm gonna get here. So now Tony, I'm trusting Tony to take care of me. And then Raphael calls me back and he says, I can't put this windshield in today. So apparently he got a call from Tony. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. And the reason is you can't have a windshield installed again within like a 3-week period because the glue, the fuck you in a bucket of glue didn't set. Now, why this is important is I didn't have my discount from Tony yet. So I was actually mildly happy for the delay. Fuck you in a bucket of goo. I got here in time. He actually showed me the goo. I'm like, I believe you. I'm a fuck you in a bucket of goo expert. But he showed me the goo. I agreed with him. The goo would fly all over the place. So we rescheduled for next week, Wednesday. And then we would get Tony to straighten all this fucking shit out online. And the point of this is that took an entire fucking day off my life. And it took a day off my life prior to that, setting it up, and it would take another day off my life when it's all set. Now, Tony did his thing. Now we're just in a holding pattern right here. And I kind of sort of almost don't want the windshield replaced because I'm starting to feel like I'm in the windshield of the month club. And as soon as it's in there, boom, it'll go. Now, I don't want to badmouth the realtor, but I'm going to badmouth the realtor. The car was parked in a maze on the street and by a realtor's office, and a 5,000 foot tall tree in the sky, and the branch fell. It felt like a fucking spear. So I took all these pictures. I knew they weren't going to pay for it, but I thought they might like to know that they have a tree that kills innocent windshields and possibly sometimes people. So I messaged them, I emailed them these pictures, and I said, it might be dangerous because like that branches fucking came down, but if you look up in a tree, there's more broken branches up there. I thought, I might like to be told if I owned a tree that might stab somebody in the head. I might want to have this information. I thought I was doing them a favor. My daughter's boyfriend, he suggested, he said they should know about this. So that guy, the realtor guy, wrote me back a 2-paragraph Hallmark greeting card. We're so sorry that this has happened to you, but we must all learn to live with Mother Nature. Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you out of your fucking mind? If you're going to do that, if I'm going to get we have to learn to live with Mother Nature, we're not going to pay you any money, fuck you in a bucket of goo. Don't answer my fucking email. Just let me think you're a dick because you didn't respond. Don't let me think you're a dick. Oh, Mary's coming back. It's good that you came back because I was getting too worked up about the windshield. And you are a calming force in my life, even though you're over here looking for treats. So that's it. So the windshield thing still isn't solved, but it's moving forward. So now we have that. Now I lost my notes here. I got myself all worked up. It doesn't sound like much, but it sucks to lose a whole day on something like that. Even if you win, it's a whole fucking day. You're like, oh, crying out loud. So now I lost my notes, but Mary's here. Oh, here's my note. And that's the story you told your therapist. And that's the what?
Story you told your therapist.
That is the story I told my therapist. wife's over there chiming in, but I can't quite hear. And then I have to say what, and then Mary's kind of sort of in between us here. Let's see here. We've got the cat whiskers. Boom, roasted. Uh, oh. How could I forget this? This has to do with the cheese whiz. Okay, so I'm trying to write a tweet to my pages about the cheese whiz. And I put it on the stick, and I couldn't remember that it was a tongue depressor. So I was trying to say, I said to my wife, just while we're hanging out here, the cheese whiz that I put on the stick, what was the name of the stick? And she didn't know that I meant what was the name of the stick, because who the fuck needs to know the name of a stick? And she said, cheese whiz. And she's like, it's odd that you would ask me the name of cheese whiz by saying, what is the name of cheese whiz? I'm there, no, I know what the cheese whiz is. The stick that if I put the cheese on, that's the thing. And she still, somehow we were not communicating. So she actually Googled cheese whiz at like Walmart and sent me the link and said, if you want to buy some cheese whiz for Mary, this is the exact brand that they had in there. No, I know what cheese whiz is. The name of this kind of the stick, the popsicle stick, the Lincoln Logs, whatever. She said, oh, that's a tongue depressor. That was another 15, 20 minutes off my life because I'm too fucking stupid to know what a tongue depressor is. And my wife is the best. And how would she have any clue that I needed to know a specific name of a stick rather than the cheese whiz? Because that's what you would want to know. What did we give the cat? We didn't give it a tongue depressor. So that was the cheese whiz story. So we got that flying around here. Let's see here. Bobbity boo. All right. All right, there's that. There's that. Oh, here's the thing too. As nuts as I am, I'm trying to be nicer in the world to people, especially in the supermarkets. Everybody's really fucking nuts and all that shit. So I'm over at the supermarket, and you have things that my wife is incredible, and she spends a lot of time loading coupons into the Giant app. That doesn't sound like a big deal, but I don't have to carry any fucking coupons at all. None. I don't have to carry any coupons. They just get zipped right off the card. And I appreciated this past week more so than ever because the lady ahead of me was hand feeding coupons into the machine, and it was a fucking nightmare. And I'm like, wow, that's fucked up. My wife is the best. She just loads them right into this thing. And if it's dumb shit, we don't buy it. But she likes to. If my wife mocks you, you know you stepped over the line because she's too nice to mock anyone. She said the Giant curbside app is $30 off a $300 order. If I'm going to get $300 worth of fucking curbside from Giant, I'm going to make fucking 10 trips in a Subaru to bring all them fucking groceries home. I would need one of those white serial killing vans that you never see. When you go to curbside, I don't know if you Peckerheads do curbside, there's never one of those big white creeper vans there, and for a good reason. Serial killers that drive around in those white vans, they don't get fucking curbside deliveries, but you'd actually need a van like that to tote $300 worth of fucking groceries home. And I love those curbside grocery shoppers and the ones who tote it out to the car, especially in the cold. It's amazing. And I will give you young folks, if that's your job, some advice, or if you know someone, tell them, if you're taking the curbside order out to spot number 3, and there's a white serial killer van, run the fuck back in the store and go into the app and just mark everything as out of stock. Out of stock, out of stock. We had a refund, out of stock, refund a whole fucking order. Because if there is a white van in the curbside spot, you are going to find yourself in the bottom of a fucking well in an episode of Silence of the Lambs. That's what's going to happen there. So that's boom roasted right there. I started playing solitaire. That doesn't sound productive, but there was a thing that said people who play solitaire have on average 20-point higher IQ than people who do not play solitaire. So I want to get my extra 20 points. So I'm playing solitaire,
On your phone.
on my phone, right? Um, or on my iPad, and then we have the cat screensaver going on here. And then if I want to watch a scary show, my wife gets upset now because the cat Hank screensaver goes away. So we mostly watch Hank go by and listen to books and music and sit and play solitaire. And then I'm reminded this should be making me smarter to write my book, but I'm not actually writing my book because I am playing solitaire. But when I'm done with solitaire, I will be smart by 20 extra IQ points to write my fucking book. So I'm getting smarter, even though it seems like I'm not. I'm going to check here in my cheater notes to make sure if I got anything here. The coupons, $30 off, 300 or more. Mary's Discovering Comfort. Let's see here. White van serial killer. That's boom roasted. See, I'm already getting better. My IQ must be going up at least a point because I'm using less notes and I remembered shit that was in my fucking notes. How about that? Until I get too cocky. Let's see here. All right, now we're going to do this. All right, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to read. Oh, I know. This is what this poor woman has to put up with. She's this amazing woman over here. She won't tell me not to do something because I'm a dumbass. She won't say, "Don't do that, you fucking stupid asshole jerk off." She just won't sanction or approve the thing that I'm asking. If I'm saying, "Should I do this?" and she thinks I shouldn't do it. She'll go, or if you feel like you must, then I know that's a bad response. And specifically now, we're talking about writing my book. So, there's a horror author that I love, Grady Hendrix. And he wrote a book called We Sold Our Souls. And I read the book, and he's on Goodreads, and I messaged him on Goodreads, and I said, I love your book. We sold our souls. I believe you are talking about the Lehigh Valley and the WZZO morning show, the Bearman and Keith, and you changed the Bearman's name to Ramos, and it was like Keith and Ramos in the morning, but the highways all fucking matched up, and the morning show matched up, and all the shit fucking matched up, and he messaged me back and said, yes, that actually was based on the Lehigh Valley and the WZZO morning show. Really nice guy. And he presented this to his editor, and his editor was a little paranoid that the Bearman was too big of a celebrity. They probably shouldn't put him in the book unless they were trying to get releases and all that shit. And he just fucking changed it to Ramos, which really says, fuck you, Keith, in a bucket of goo. Because they weren't worried about Keith. It was like Keith and Ramos. So they had to protect Bearman, but I don't know. Because I don't know. So then I was all proud that I decoded this thing. And then I started getting a little pissed off. And then I said, hey, wait a minute. How come I'm not in the book? How come it's not Keith and Ramos and Ramos? I should have been Ramos, really. It should have been Bearman and Keith and Ramos if they wanted to fucking decode. So he laughed about that. So we have a nice, fun little goofing off relationship. I met him, good book signed and all that stuff. And he actually suggested software for me to use to write my book because I asked him. And now I'm writing stories in the book. And part of it is the shit that happens to me in my career. One of those stories actually now is about Grady Hendrix and writing about WZZO Morning Show and Keith and Ramos instead of Keith. It's a fucking story. So now I'm thinking, oh, son of a bitch. Now I have to wonder if I have to get permission from Grady Hendrix to tell the story about me decoding We Sold Our Souls, WZZO, Keith and Ramos, not Keith and Bearman in the morning, and now that's a whole fucking another nightmare. This is what writing a book is, in case you don't know. Can I say that without fucking going to jail? So I'm thinking of tweeting at him right? I'm thinking of tweeting him, hey, I'm writing my book now, and you happen to be in a story because of the ZZO Morning Show, Keith and Ramos in the morning, and I'm wondering, is it okay for me to talk about this book in this story in my book? It's about your book and meeting you. Um, and so I was going to tweet at him, and my wife did not embrace the tweet at Grady Hendrix as I thought she would, and probably also because she was asleep. So that really wasn't that fair. But she would not. I technically then I realized it was a dick move on my part because I was really asking my wife to give me permission to make an asshole out of myself regarding Grady Hendrix, and so I erred on the side of no, probably what I should do is just present it to my editor, and then he can say Grady Hendrix is too big of a celebrity. Let's just call it a book written by Keith and Ramos in the horror afternoon and morning. So that's a story in the book that's going to be in the book. I'm getting ready. The alarm just went off. I'm going to try to wrap this show up. I'm so grateful for your donations. Like I said, this week features the electric bill, but what I'm going to try to do now is read the preface from my book. So I won't be able to see you, and I can't see you now anyway, but I can see me how you see me. If you're seeing me where you are seeing me, but once I do what I'm going to do, I won't be able to see me how you see me, and I hope you still see me this way. And when I move a little bit, I get in and out of focus because I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to present to you the first official reading of the preface for my book. Let's see, I'm going to put this on. Now I can't see is because I have Scrivener, however you say. I can't even say the name of the software I'm writing. I'm going to put this here. So here we go. This is the preface to my book, which still doesn't have a title. Working title is now Book of Amish Comic, like Book of Mormon, but nobody really gets that, so I'm going to have to dump that. It was going to be my career started in the toilet. I don't like it. I should have been famous by now. I don't like it, so I'm going to need a title. But here we go. Preface for my eventual book. I really love to read. Although I perform comedy, I don't read comedy. I do love a sense of humor in a serial killer page turner. I love the eccentric characters who party and dance and mock each other while they're on the way to the serious showdown with evil. When I read most of the classic horror killy books, I got tricked by my wife, grown-up children, my wife and my grown-up children into reading an epic fantasy. Oh, motherfucker. I told some of this preface in my fucking live stream tonight, and I fucked my preface up. So I got tricked by my wife and grown-up children into reading epic fantasy books like The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. My wife was reading the Wheel of Time books while I was reading Joe Hill or Grady Hendrix, and anytime she got to a part someone was getting stabbed in the eye, she'd squirm in her seat and ultimately would take a break from reading, look to me and say, I think you would really like this book. It's not all killy, but it's really good killy when it's killy. And she is absolutely correct. So I got hooked on these epic fantasies. As there's a little dash of horror in there. I like when they infuse a teeny little bit of comedy, but that can't be the same. That can't be a thing. So the stories in my book are real. So I don't have to create an interesting character or an arc or character development or kill off any villains. I write comedy but only as a kind of like a workshop thing on stage. I'll throw concepts out and kick them around. I can't do that with the book. There's no room for character development here. I met George Carlin, and he's the number one suspect you would expect to find in a book written by a comedian who's very lucky to have George Carlin's story to tell. This book is as much about sharing my stories with you as it is to get them down on paper for my grandchildren. Gather round, grandchildren, and I will tell you the story of Halsey Hall, Hall of Fame Minnesota Twins announcer who coined the phrase, "Holy cow." Halsey Hall was my wife's great uncle. That is a great story. It should be in a book, and it is in a book. So I want to have a book so that years from now, when sports commentators are saying, "fuck you in a bucket of goo," my grandchildren will know their great great pappy Amish comic was the one who coined the phrase, "fuck you in a bucket of goo." Also need to get these stories documented because of the old game, Whisper Down the Lane. As I've told many of these stories on stage over the years, it usually doesn't take more than 6 months or so for a fan to post a special memory of a show of mine they were lucky enough to ticket for, and that's their words, not mine. And then they proceed to tell me things that never actually even happened. Depending on my mood, I straighten them out, but mostly I don't want to wreck it for them. If seeing me open for Weird Al in Lancaster for the Amish Paradise Tour was one of their greatest Raymond the Amish comic memories, then I kind of hate to tell them, as awesome of a memory as that is for you, I wasn't there. And if you pause for a moment, you would realize that nobody would put a "fuck you" in a bucket of goo, cursing Amish comedian on stage before Weird Al, who's not quite a children's show, but you get the point. My stories are real. My stories are as accurate as I can recall them. And I have notes, 30 plus years in comedy. George Carlin is a very excellent choice for me for the example. Carlin said in one of his books, "write everything down that you think is funny. When you think it up, you're going to believe it's so funny that you couldn't possibly forget it. But you will." So ever since then, I fill up notebooks. These are my stories. I hope you enjoy them. I hope some of you will have been at some of these stories, or were listening to a particular story on the radio, and then you can freak out and go, "oh my God, I was there. I was at the Jeep rally where Raymond hosted the Jeep races, and Tori Thomas was there from ZZO, and she asked me to help her with a contest we thought up a terrible idea of saying you can win concert tickets if you can perform any sort of trick: juggle, cartwheel, light a match off your ass, anything. On this day, nobody could do anything, when all of a sudden, and to the horror of all, and to the glory of those reading this story and are not scarred by the memories of what we saw happen that dark day in August at the Kempton Jeep races, for an aging biker said, "I can do a trick," and he dropped his pants that quick. Total commando, old man biker, junk dangling at the crowded races. I hid behind Chris, the prize freak, and I remember screaming, "you win if you pull up your fucking pants." I hope you enjoy reading the stories as much as I enjoy being in them. Peace, Amish Comic. Prologue. Thought I signed off. I slammed the lid of the computer, and apparently we're just still streaming. Now, wait a minute. That was pretty bad. If I could figure out how to shut this thing down. I'm still streaming. It was supposed to be. Oh, I gotta click on this.